watch the YouTube, welcome back to another reaction video. Today we're going to be, since I've released called Chucky in 2 months, since it's August now, September, October. We're going to be doing a reaction video into 10 things you did not know about Chucky. So let's begin, shall we?
Charles Lee Ray, otherwise known as Chucky, a dangerous serial killer who, thanks to the dark forces of voodoo, transports his evil soul into a good guy doll, thus creating one of the greatest and unlikeliest of movie boogeymen.
Yeah.
But despite the fact that Chucky takes on the form of a mere child's doll, doesn't make him any less creepy, and Chucky makes playtime feel that bit more intimidating and freaky, as for 6 movies now, the evil doll with a taste for carnage has been wreaking havoc on the big and small screen to the delight of eager fans. So today, in celebration of Chucky, I'm going to go through a list of weird facts you may not know about this strange and creepy movie killer, as we go through things that you didn't know about Chucky.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi-ho!
Number 10. Chucky's name is based on 3 real-life serial killers.
No.
In the original Child's Play, we meet dangerous criminal Charles Lee Ray, whom, once mortally wounded by the police, uses the dark powers of voodoo to transport his soul into a child's doll, where he became immortalized in the world of horror as Chucky. But did you know that the character's name is an amalgamation of 3 real-life serial killers, including murderous cult leader Charles Manson, Lee Harvey Oswald, who was the assassin who shot and killed JFK, and James Earl Ray, the man who assassinated Martin Luther King, hence the character's full name, Charles Lee Ray. So, the lesson of the story is, if you want to create a character that's pure evil, just name him after 3 real-life tyrants. Like me, I made up a serial killer called Adolf Osama Coney. Number 9. Child's Play is based on a true story. Sort of. Some people have traced Chucky's origins to Robert the Doll. Robert the Doll is a doll in supernatural superstition who was owned by an 11-year-old boy called Eugene. It is said that the doll had a voodoo curse put upon it, causing all kinds of misfortunes to those who come into contact with Robert the Doll, including car crashes and broken bones. The doll with a pennant of bad luck currently resides safely in a museum, secured by a glass cage, where he can't cause any more carnage. Over the years, many believe that Chucky was inspired by Robert the Doll, thanks to the whopping similarities between the 2 stories. Although Child's Play director Tom Holland took to Twitter to reject this claim. But let's face it, that's what someone who was possessed by Robert the Doll would say. That and Child's Play was written by scriptwriter Don Mancini, and who knows, maybe he was influenced somewhat by Robert the Doll. Either way, the similarities are jaw-dropping. Number 8. Chucky was originally meant to be Andy's dark side. In the original Child's Play, we see a young boy called Andy receive a possessed doll for his birthday, where the doll containing the soul of an evil serial killer gets up to all kinds of no good. But in the original script, Chucky's existence was a lot more psychological and abstract. Originally, the script was titled Blood Buddy, and Andy wasn't your normal run-of-the-mill kid, but instead a boy with dark psychotic problems, who becomes obsessed with the Chucky doll, which motivates him to lash out at teachers, his mother, and school bullies, making Child's Play seem much more like a psychological thriller than a downright evil doll horror movie it turned out to be. as the Chucky doll was meant to be somewhat of a physical manifestation of Andy's inner violence and rage. So obviously they scrapped that idea and went with the whole doll being an evil serial killer thanks to the powers of voodoo. Because Lord knows, having the child as a killer clearly just would have been silly. Number 7. Chucky had his own theme, which was rejected. The original Child's Play was meant to end with a special theme dedicated to the evil murderous doll titled Chucky, written and performed by musician Simon Stokes. But the song was never used and scrapped entirely from the movie, on the account on just how goofy the song sounded. I mean, just listen to it. C-H-U-C-K, why'd you come out and play? Listen up, fool, I'll tell you why. Chucky's bad, that ain't no lie. Chucky, Chucky, go away. You're too rough when you play. Over in the corner now, peekaboo. Honey, honey, ha-ha, I see you. Oh, gee whiz! Why on earth did that get scrapped? I haven't heard anything that beautiful since Beethoven's Ode to Joy. And Chucky said that. Yeah, this song doesn't exactly make Chucky sound threatening or menacing, but instead just kind of makes him out to be a joke. That and the song sounds incredibly child-friendly, like as if Chucky is just a naughty doll who's fun for the whole family. Doesn't exactly strike fear into people. What doesn't help is the song just sounds, well, for lack of a better word, crap.
He said, hi there, ain't I lucky? Pleased to meet you. Call me Chucky. I'll always be your very bestest friend.
So thankfully and wisely it wasn't used, and Chucky was spared of having a god-awful theme that he would have been stuck with forevermore, thus making him less threatening. Number 6. Chucky has a famous stunt double. While making the original Child's Play, it seemed that two classic horror movie franchises collided, the other being the cult horror movie Children of the Corn, because in the scenes that required Chucky jumping and running around, actor John Franklin was used as the demonic doll's stunt double. For those who don't know, Franklin played the main villain, the child preacher Isaac in Children of the Corn. Franklin is even listed in the movie's credits as Walkabout Chucky. So there you have it. Franklin has now portrayed two famous movie villains, the demented kid from Children of the Corn and Chucky in his walking form. Not bad. Also, Franklin played Cousin It in the Addams Family movie. You know, just thought I'll throw it out there. And while we're talking about actors who helped bring Chucky to life working on other famous horror movie franchises, I think it's also worth mentioning that the actor who played Chucky in human form and provided Chucky's voice in all 6 films, Brad Dourif, played the main villain in The Exorcist 3, in a truly terrifying performance. Number 5. Chucky has a backstory that you didn't know about. Yeah, believe it or not, but Chucky, or rather Charles Lee Ray, does indeed have a backstory rather than just being a demented criminal who dabbles in voodoo. The book to the
Sorry about that, guys.
Sadly though, the only way you could have learned more about Chucky's upbringing was if you read the novelization of Child's Play 2, as the book to the Chucky sequel offers more info into how Chucky became the monster that he is, as it explains that Chucky is the product of a broken home, thanks to an absent father and an abusive mother. And what made matters worse is the other kids at Chucky's school would tease him about his mother, in which, thanks to her abusive ways, Chucky ended up strangling her to death, and thus a serial killer is born. And let's face it, an absent father, abusive mother, and bullying children are instantly a recipe for a doll-inhabiting psychopath. Number 4. Chucky exists in the same universe as Freddy Krueger, Mike Myers, Jason Voorhees, and Leatherface. It's always fun and exciting to learn that some of our favourite movie characters from different franchises can coexist within the same universe. And in this case, horror fans will delight in knowing that Child's Play, along with Halloween, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre do indeed take place in the same cinematic universe, thanks to the installment Bride of Chucky. In the opening scene, which takes place in a police evidence lockup, we see Freddy Krueger's glove, along with Mike Myers' mask, Jason Voorhees' hockey mask, and Leatherface's chainsaw. No doubt bringing great joy to all fans of these horror movie franchises, and giving them hope that maybe one day a crossover will ensue.
Sick.
All I gotta say is a Chucky, Freddy, Mike, Jason, and Leatherface crossover movie? Seriously, Hollywood, hurry up and make this movie already. Honestly, just shut up and take my money. And incidentally, the director of Bride of Chucky, Ronnie Yu, actually went on to direct Freddy vs. Jason. So this was probably no coincidence, but rather a precursor of what's to come. So fingers crossed that an epic movie serial killer showdown happens.
Yeah.
Number 3. Britney Spears really doesn't like Chucky. Before Britney Spears went crazy and shaved her head, she was the pop princess of the late 90s and early 2000s, and it seemed that having Spears involved in promoting your product certainly wouldn't have hurt. However, in 2004, when The Seed of Chucky came out, the production team did the next best thing and used a Britney impersonator for their movie, where we see Chucky kill the pop diva, leaving her car exploding in flames.
Son of a bitch! Up yours, asshole!
Well, although movie audiences may have been laughing, Britney and her management were not amused and were worried that viewers would think the look-alike was in fact the real Britney Spears. So much so that a disclaimer had to be inserted into the Seed of Chucky TV trailers, informing viewers that Spears does not star in the movie. Because of course, that's the real cause for concern when it comes to using a disclaimer. I mean, never mind all the senseless violence and scenes of murder. Nope! The fact that people might think this was the real Britney Spears is the real major issue here. I'm guessing a lawyer on behalf of Spears put pressure on the movie production, which in effect resulted in the bizarre disclaimer. But either way, you got to admit, this is one strange piece of knowledge to start your trailer off with.
Oops, I did it again.
Number 2, Chucky was nearly cast by someone else.
Oh no.
Actor Brad Dourif perfectly played homicidal criminal Charles Lee Ray and provided the voice for Chucky. He did so with manic delight, which made him enjoyable, but also terrifying at the same time. But it nearly didn't end up that way, as when the original Child's Play was in production, before Dourif was cast, actor John Lithgow was considered. Lithgow is probably most well known for his performance in Third Rock from the Sun, along with Santa Claus the Movie and Cliffhanger, and more recently appearing in Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Interstellar. Now Lithgow is a good actor, and at times can be menacing, but I don't know, I just can't see Chucky talking and Lithgow's voice coming out. That's just weird.
That self-serving bitch! They cut us out! I see you're getting ready for the arrival of Professor McBitch.
But thankfully, they ended up going with Dourif. Number 1. To take Chucky home with you would have left you broke. When Child's Play came out in the late 80s, home video was becoming a more mainstream medium in the entertainment world. The problem is though, back then, if you wanted to own your favourite movie on videotape, it was top dollar and wasn't cheap. When Child's Play was being released on VHS format back in 1989, a promo advertising this release was put together, where we would see Chucky talking about starring in Child's Play and how awesome the movie is and how awesome he is and so on.
I just knocked him dead in Child's Play. MGM-UA's hit motion picture thriller that has already grossed over $28 million in domestic box office receipts.
You know, the usual stuff you would expect. But when the 6-minute promo ends, we see that to buy a copy of Child's Play would have left you out of pocket a whopping $89.95.
Fuck me.
Wow! Just wow! I mean, think about it, guys. Child's Play for $89.95. Yeah, that's a bargain if I've ever seen one. Yeah, a staggering $89.95. Which, by the way, keep in mind, this promo came out in 1989. So by today's standards, what with inflation, this tape would have costed $176. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Child's Play. Okay, I think it's a great, enjoyable film, but damn, I ain't paying nearly $200 for it.
I would.
So, can dolls be truly menacing and even brutal murderers? Well, if the Chucky film series is anything to go by, the answer is yes. And if Chucky didn't scare you, then the $89.95 VHS price sure would have done. Anyway, that was my look into things that you didn't know about Chucky. So, I'm Minty, and I'm going to destroy this doll once and for all.
I am Chucky, the killer dog!
So, that's pretty good. That.
Always be.
So, that's 10 things you didn't know about Chucky. So, I hope you like this, guys. See you for the next video. Peace out, bro.